Hello, Flosstube. My name is Elizabeth Martinez, phantastitches, and this is my channel about cross stitch. I am going to talk about my stitching today, a little bit of design work, and a lot of shopping, I guess. As well as a big thank you from an old friend of my sister's and mine named Vicky. I'll get to that in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and start with the stitching because that's what most of us are here for. I've been doing various. Well, before I do that, I just wanted to share this picture. One of the things my sisters and I are putting together is a wanting to do a memorial video for my dad's service, which is later on this month. And so, we're trying to find some pictures to use for that. And so I had gone through some pictures last week, but then, we had a few more to add to it this week. And we had a DVD from like 2005, and I think I'm the only one left who has an actual DVD player on my computer. I have a desktop computer, and so it has a DVD player and has a CD player apparently too, which I can't get to work. I don't know if I'm missing a drive or somehow it wouldn't open, but the DVD player did. And so I have on disc a DVD from 2005, and so I was playing that. I was trying to make a copy on a thumb drive for my sister because her computer, my sister Naomi, her computer didn't have a DVD drive. And so, but she has she can use a stick, a thumb drive or jump drive or whatever you call it. So, I couldn't right click on any of the pictures on the DVD. And so I just copied them onto the stick, and then I couldn't open them on my computer. They had some weird extension, and the DVDs apparently were made on a Mac or whatever, and so you can see them on the DVD. My other sister was pointing out that like a Blu-ray player, something like that, would play a DVD, but you can't copy it from there, onto a stick to put in a computer. So anyway, so the DVDs are still viewable apparently, but it's the march of technology. Once upon a time, cassettes were considered, great. Vinyl recordings, cassettes, videotapes, and then CDs and DVDs. And now even those are obsolete, because everything's online now, so. But one of the things we found a few more pictures of my dad, and this picture, my mom and dad from 1955 when they got married. Look how young they were. Yeah, so, oh, there, that's better. There's a, yeah. Anyway, so yeah. Anyway, so now we'll talk about stitching. So, I haven't started my WIPGO things for September because I'm going to be more or less concentrating on them starting either tomorrow or Monday. And so I think tomorrow. Anyway, so the beginning of this month, I was doing a little bit more on, I think I talked about it last week. This is the September Rabbit by Ink Circles. Tracy Horner, excuse me. Tracy Horner of Ink Circles. And so, you know, I've finished like maybe 1, 2, 3 of the 12 of the series, and you know, done a little bit on different ones. But this is August. It goes like this. Yeah, I started in the upper right hand corner. So I got all the rabbits done. This one, for whatever reason, went pretty quickly, you know. So I have, you know, this greenery is repeated around the rabbits, and then there's like a yellow color that there's like, you know, 1 stitch here, 1 stitch there, you know, just accenting. I don't think there's any in this part, but on the flower there's a few, you know, individual stitches, and then there's a few around here in this little center motif, and then, you know, like I said, there's stitches like these around this corner. Yeah, so there's, yeah, I guess there's one of these here and one of these here. See, the rabbits are holding these, the stems of the flowers here. So there's a flower here and a flower here, and then the other greenery behind each rabbit's ears. So this one is really close to being done, but I don't know that I'll finish it this month. It's sharing a cloth with this is I think April. Yeah. So anyway, there's that. So I don't know if I'll be getting back to it because I've got a couple of other things. But there's that one. And then the other thing, I did some designing, one for my dad, to sort of, it kind of parallels the one I did for my mother. But this one has I talked about it, I think, last week, a quote from a hymn, the Wayfaring Stranger. And it has, you know, sheep and these fish in the stream. So I had designed that, and I wanted to do something kind of parallel to the one I did for my mother. And I chose this, this is a gray fabric. It's from Hobby Lobby, and it's like 50 count, I think. It's very small. And so as you can see, I started in the corner, and I did this border, and I don't know that I mean, the colors look good on this fabric. It's fine. This is a gray. They have a set of naturals and a set of like earth tones. And so, so I chose this gray, but it's very tiny, and I don't know that I like it that much. So I have kind of just set it aside for a couple of reasons. But so one reason is that I think I might try a different fabric, and I'll get to that a little bit later also. And then the other thing I did was I designed this little bookmark thing for our friend Byron, who is going to be doing the memorial service for my dad. He's the one who did the service for my mother a couple of years ago. A year ago, I guess, actually, because she died in 2020, but we had her service in 21 after, you know, so it says, I lift up my eyes to the hills. From where does my help come? My help comes from the Lord who made heaven and earth. Psalm 121, 1 and 2. And after I did the design, I was kind of like, it's a little samey, you know, there's two sheep, and then this is supposed to be heaven and earth, the sun and the earth. And so I decided to make this a little different, and so I put a third sheep in there, and I moved the sheep around, but I was sort of doing it on the fly, you know, because I just decided, like last night, I was like, well, you know, I'm gonna put another sheep in there, and so I just took a pencil and on my, this is not the pattern, but on the pattern I you know, scribbled around and changed it a little bit, and then when I was trying to stitch it, I was like getting a little confused. So I decided I needed to put the sheep that I had added and moved. I need to put them in. So they're here, but one thing I did, I realized I made a little bit of mistake, and it since the green is already done and the sheep is more or less in place, I didn't do the border on this side yet. But this white sheep is right up against the border, and I don't know whether the sheep's tail will be like in a space like this or over one of the blue squares or whatever. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with the tail. It might be, because the way I designed these sheep, they have like a little back stitch tail, but it's just, you can see it, it's at a little angle there. But since this sheep is right up against the border, it'll either, depending on, on how it looks when I get to it, the sheep might have a straight up and down tail or whatever, or I don't know. But so I started in the corner here, and I started doing the border, and I just like, this is the end of a thread here, so the border continues a little further down, and and I already redid this the first part of the verse here, because I had it over in the wrong place, and it kind of like, it was you could see how off-centered off-centered it was, and so I had done it with 2 threads to make it the wording stand out a little more, but I didn't like the way I did colonial knots instead of French knots, and they looked a little big lumpy, with 2 threads. So I redid it, since I had to redo it anyway. I did it with 1 thread, and I like the way it looks. And this one is also in the wrong place. It's like, but it's like 1 stitch off, and with the the way I centered it, because it's there, it's uneven. It's like 6 on one side and 7 on the other, or something like that. Stitches, to blank stitches to center it, and so it's just the instead of being 6 on one side and 7 on the other, it's 6 on one side and 7 on the other. So it's it all comes out in the wash for the second part of the verse. The third part of I want to get it right. The third and the fourth part, I want to not make any mistakes. So I'm gonna try to finish the border and make sure I can do it right next time. But so yeah, so I put in a couple of sheep just so I could figure out what I was doing. So actually, this part is not on my design yet. I have to go back and fix it. But yeah, so there's that. So I'm hoping, like I said, to finish this pretty quickly. My WIPGO pieces, I'm going to start working on, I think tomorrow. But I'm gonna go ahead and finish this while I'm at it. So I'm gonna do part of the day on my WIPGO and part of the day on this piece, and then I think when I finish it, I'm just gonna leave the back as it is, because it's pretty neat, and it's not hooky, to hook on anything. And so I think I'm probably gonna just like fray the end like this a little bit, just cut it kind of close, and then fray the end, and that way I won't have to like put a back on it, put cording or anything like that, to just have a flat, like a bookmark kind of thing. But so it goes a little further down, so that's it. But it's a pretty quick stitch. The border part is a little tedious just because there's a lot of it, but the design is pretty simple. This one is a little bit, has a lot of border. It's a little bit larger. There's not a whole lot of stitching to it. Once you get the border done, and this middle part is relatively easy, and then there's just a back stitching for the lettering. But so like I said, I'm a little ambivalent about the fabric that I am using. And I had talked last week before last, I don't remember, about whenever it was, about my elephant, I guess last week, about the elephant Bascornu, and how I had a dream that the fabric that I had it on wasn't big enough. And so I had purchased another one of these just to make sure. And after I got, working on it and everything, I figured it's probably going to be big enough. So, I had just had this extra thing lying around. So when I was looking for fabric to do the bookmark on, I realized that I had actually bought all 3 of these fabrics. So I have 2 of these, of the blue now. But I have the other 2 colors that they make of this 25, it's 25 count Lugana. So this is this is called Pearl. It's just a light gray. It's just, really an off-white. And then this one is natural. And it's just it's a little bit more neutral, and it's got little flecks, so you can see a little flecks of color in there. But, so, I don't know if this is quite big enough to do over 2. But if I do 1/1, like this is 1/1. No, 1/2, excuse me, 1/2 on 50 count. And so on 25 count, if I do 1/1, it might be the same size. I don't know. I have to do some math. But I think even if I do, not on this color, on this pearl, it'll be a little closer match to the one I did for my mother. But also, because the holes are a little bit easier to see than they are on here. This is, very tiny. And so I'm going to do a little bit of experimenting and see what I prefer. And, I'm like I said, I'm stitching this with 1 thread because, obviously it's very tiny and all that. But I guess because of the fabric is so dense that even with 1 thread, the thread becomes kind of frayed a little bit. And it feels very thin to me because I'm used to stitching with 2 threads, all the time. But stitching with 1 thread feels a little bit like I'm stitching with a spider web, because the thread feels very thin and very, So I don't know if it's because of, like I said, because the fabric is so dense that it's kind of, wearing on the thread a little bit, or what the deal is. But it feels very, very, like I said, like I'm stitching with a spider web. And I have a pretty fine needle for that, for this fabric and for the single thread and all that. But I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna do some math and some experimentation with the fabrics and see which one I prefer. So that's still in the air. So that's all the stitching that I've done this week. And like I said, I'm going to start on at least one of my WIPGO projects tomorrow, I believe. And along with continuing with the bookmark. But in the meantime, I have a gift from Vicky, and I've done some shopping. So, first, I think I'm going to talk about the gift. So, our friend Vicky that we went to school with, my sister and I went to high school and possibly junior high, because we were it was one feeder school basically. But we went to school with Vicky, and so with the advent of you know, social media and all that, we've sort of been able to make contact with her, and she and some other high school friends of ours actually were out here in the Phoenix area several weeks ago. Anyway, so Vicky sent us, my sisters and I, some little gifts. She sent some yarn that my sister Naomi is, you know, going to look at using, and then she sent some notions pouches for each of us to choose between us, and she sent a couple of skeins of thread that she won. These were Bestitch Me silks. So my sister had chosen a darker thread, but so I got this one, and it's very very strongly variegated. It's really pretty colors. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. I haven't decided. But then also the notions pouch, but one I chose has an elephant on it. Look at that elephant. It's so cute. So, yeah. And it has a little zipper with a little, you know, kind of keychain thing on it. And, yeah. And it's like it's kind of like a vinyl on the outside. You know, like I don't know what you call it. But on the inside, it's very nice and sort of soft and all that. So, and then she sent some fabric. So this is the 32 count Merino Carré fleur. So I'm going to be able to use that. I'll add it to my stash. So there's that. And then did a little shopping. So my sisters are going to make some quilted placemats for our friend Byron, who's doing service for us. And so while they went to Joann's day before yesterday, to choose some fabrics to do that. And so while they were choosing, look at the fabrics, I went over to the cross stitch section, and I got this little bookmark. This is, I'm not doing Byron's bookmark on this, but I was thinking about bookmarks, and I was actually looking for some that I knew I had. I used one like this for a bookmark that I made for Hannah, my niece Hannah. And I used a different one that I bought at Hobby Lobby that has like a sort of a lacy, finish. It's a little bit shorter than this one, but it has a kind of a lace all around it. And I used that for a lady at my Bible study group. But the ones that I had here in my stash, they were older bookmarks, but they're a little bit, I want to say they're a little narrower than this, and maybe a little bit longer. But they're 14 count Aida, and they're very stiff. They almost feel like they're wired or something. Like if you could bend it, and it's a very stiff fabric. And I bought this one also. But the only thing about them is that they're very narrow, I guess. And so you're very limited in, if you were going to put just like this one comes with like a design on it, just a little row of, flowers or whatever, fleur-de-lis or whatever. So if you want to use something like that, or just do like a simple design, they're fine. But, if you're, trying to design something to put on there, you're very limited in, how much you can do. I think it's like, maybe 2 inches, I think it says, from end to end. And then there's a little bit of a border so that it doesn't fray or whatever. So, and I think with Hannah's, I used something like this, but I dyed the fabric. And So anyway, but I went ahead and just bought another bookmark just because, you know, they're good to have around. And I found the other, you know, like the other ones that I had. So, but then I also just picked up another thing of 28 count Monaco. This is just another white one, so I can dye it. And I think last week I bought. I think I showed. I had bought a like sort of a natural color of. I think Joann's also of. I think 28 count linen. So this is Monaco. It's a little bit thicker than linen. And then also, while I was there, next door to Joann's is a dollar store, and you know they have a lot of craft kind of supplies and stuff like that, but they have these little I don't know what you call them, laser cut craft icons. So you know, and they're not like buttons or anything, but you could you know, sew them on or glue them on or attach them on a frame or whatever. So there's these butterflies and these little bugs. There's looks like a bee and a dragonfly and another type of dragonfly, another style of dragonfly. And then there's a whale and a penguin and a dolphin. So again, I don't have any immediate plans, but it's always nice to have some options. And then today, my older sister said, "You want to go to the attic?" So I'm like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" Again, it was very dangerous of me because I didn't have any specific idea. Eve was hoping that maybe she had ordered a pattern not too long ago, and she was hoping that maybe it'd come in. They hadn't called her or anything like that. We just went on a whim that, you know, she thought, well, you know, they might have it in. They just haven't called me yet. But she's still waiting for it. But so while we were there, you know, last time we went, I bought Blackbird designs from their Loose Feather series. I think it was number, let me see, I think they're right here. No, it's not here. I think the other pattern I have lists all of the patterns in this Loose Feather series. So I think the one I bought last time was number 9, and this one is number 3 from the Loose Feather series. She Sights a Bird, and I know this one came out a few years ago. People were talking about this, but I really like this. And Sherry Truex Berger, is that her name? Who's doing the cross stitch camp? She did the cross stitch camp things this summer. She did one in February, and then of course the 2022 cross stitch camp in June, July, and August. And so a lot of people are doing sampler September, and so she's doing a September cross stitch camp sampler for sampler September, basically, but it goes from September through December to work on the sampler, whatever. So I was kind of ambivalent about joining in, but I haven't really looked at all the whatever parameters are on there, but I like this. Technically, it's a sampler. It has, you know, this alphabet on it. But there's a cat, and there's some birds there. Yeah, and I like that. And it says inside that it was the title of this pattern is inspired by Emily Dickinson's poem She Sights a Bird, and then there's a, you know, dash, she chuckles. It seems perfect for this cat surrounded by 3 birds. Think of this piece as more of a peaceful kingdom than what Emily Dickinson implies in her poem. So, yeah. This one. I went ahead and got this. That's so cute. Look at this kitty. Yeah. So, she's like the bird. And so while I was at it, I went ahead and bought a bunch of threads. I bought, so I before we went to the attic, I checked the patterns that I bought last time. And I talked about the patterns that I bought. And so, and I figured I had, some of the colors I already had. I knew I had. Excuse me. But I didn't go through all of my stash of fancy flosses to see which ones I had and which one. You know, I knew I had some of them. But anyway, I just went ahead and got them because I thought, well, you know, some of them I know I'll use soon enough, whatever. But you know. So these are Classic Colorworks threads. This is Fallen Leaves, Ye Old Gold, and Hickory Sticks. And I know I have Ye Old Gold, and I may or may not, I may have one thread, one thing of skein of Hickory Sticks, but it was a little hard to find earlier this year, I guess. I don't know if there was a lot of demand or whatever, but I saw it there and I thought, oh, I'm gonna snatch it. So yeah, so there's those, and like I said, I think I have Ye Old Gold, but you know, whatever. And then Gast, I know these threads are kind of hard to come by. Gast has had Gentle Arts sampler threads. Gentle Arts has had some supply issues, I guess. So. So you know, there've been some that I've been looking for that they just haven't had, and I know at the attic they've you know, they order them, but you know they've had trouble getting them in because Gentle Arts is having trouble, you know, getting them out. And so you know, when I found them, I went ahead and got them. So these are I think there were just 3, yeah, of the Gentle Arts. This is Red Plum Mountain Mist, and Briar Rose. Yeah, those are pretty colors. And then I got a whole bunch of Weeks Dye Works colors. I think like this one, this She Sights a Bird. Yeah, these are all Weeks Dye Works colors, and I was able to get most of them. They have a lot of Weeks colors. So let me actually do this way. I have several. I'm not going to read these all because I have so many of them, but I got several. And like I said, some of them I'm pretty sure I had already, but I just went ahead and got them because, you know, what the heck, why not? So there's a whole bunch there. Yeah. And then, oh, there's one there. This light khaki. And then these were just not like, you know, not given that extra twist, so they're kind of. And I remember I was looking for a specific color, and so I was like, you know, looking at they're on these little, you know, pegs on this display thing, and I kept knocking one of the colors down. It was like not a color that I wanted, but it was, you know, the peg was very full of colors, and it like kept falling on the floor. I kept picking it up, and then I'd knock it down again, and pick it up again. So there's these. This is coal, and I'm pretty sure I have that already, but you know. Yeah, so there's a couple more colors. And there's one over here that has a funny name. Yeah, this one. Schnickly. This one. And then a couple more colors here. These are really pretty. These are really pretty. I like those colors a lot. So anyway, I like I said, got entirely too many threads. Like I said, I think I probably have several of those, but you know, it never hurts to get more. So I think that's probably all I have today, just because, you know, I've only done 3 patterns that I've been stitching on, so, so little by little, you know, we're getting back to normal, I guess, if you will, and it's probably going to take us, you know, a while, you know, all this, because, like, you know, things look, feel normal, feel good, whatever, and then, you know, something comes up that reminds us of Dad, or makes us think of Dad, or you know, just, you know, you're up and down for a while, and but you know, but things are generally going well, and so I want to thank everybody for all their support during this day, and so like I said, I think that's all I have to talk about this week. It's a very short video, but it's late at night and I'm kind of exhausted. It's been a long day, and it was a long day yesterday because just a lot of stuff going on. So I think that's it. So I will talk to you again next week, and hopefully I'll have some one of my WIPGO things, and hopefully I will have finished at least the bookmark that I'm doing for Byron. And so thanks again to our friend Vicky, and I think that's it for now. All right. So I will talk to you again next week. And until then, have fun, and I'll see you later. Thanks.